Hello YouTube Nation, we put out a short earlier this afternoon about going back to the stock accessory bracket temporarily on the 1980 LS Swap Trans Am. Once we get through our intro here, I'll go ahead and show you why. I'll be right back. Here we go, it's running again. So, as you see, we did go back to the stock LS accessory bracket temporarily. I've got to do some research and like this distro block here, I'm going to end up having to extend some wires. This thing right here is actually a fusible link, so I'm going to have to extend that in a couple grounds. But I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and I'll get you guys to the main reason. So the main reason I went with the swap, the relocation kit in the first place, was to get the alternator on the bottom so we could go with this nice big chunk right here, which is the high output 160 amp alternator. Problem we have, it sits nice and pretty like that, a little more of an angle, nice and pretty like that on the motor. Looked real nice. Here comes the problem. So in this particular one, I'm gonna show over here. Here's your plug. That plug literally sits right up against the front of the engine cradle, cross member. And then the stud here sits right on the top of the engine cradle, or the cross member, whatever you might call it. It's cradle for me. So I'm gonna do a little research. I think there's a way to get a shorter stud. I think there's a way that I can actually pull this out and switch it with one that actually has the plug coming at another 90 degrees from this. It'll come straight out like this. Once it does, I can plug into it. Right now, like I said, this sits literally right up against the engine cradle, so there's no getting that in there. And it actually sits like this. That's actually how it sits right there. So this is at the front of the cross member or the engine cradle. And this, where it dips down right by the motor mount, actually, this sits right there. So I'm pretty sure I can get a shorter stud. It's just figuring out this and like I'd mentioned, getting in there and extending some wires. ICD Billet sells an alternator extension plug, which is nice. I do have that, but that fusible link and a couple grounds and everything. And the grounds, if we look here, it's all these grounds. So this one here is simple. That's actually to my amp meter. No, that's actually to my temp sensor. The ground to my temp sensor. You got the main ground here. And then this one goes to my temp switch for the coolant for the electric fans. So once I do some research, get me back to normal, what I call normal, because originally I'll put a picture up here if I remember to. This is actually it's the power steering pump reservoir. Sits about this high, so plenty of clearance then and not having to worry. Right now, it's still close, and if you look at the top of the hood, in the right light, you can see bumps here, and that is from the original high output alternator that was butted right up against the hood. This one, maybe 2 fingers, maybe 1, 2 finger, maybe more than 1.5 between it and the bottom of the hood. So I really want to get that relocation kit on there. So that's the update for now. Be doing some research and hopefully be able to go ahead and knock it out. I'm also going to be bolting up the bottom of the fenders soon. So, and lining it up by eye so we can get it to a rack. Because right now, since we replaced all the suspension, one of the upper control arm bolts is actually rubbing the steering column, the steering shaft. And I just put some washers in there to space it for right now, but we're gonna get a tape measure and a level out and try to get it the best we can so it can be roadworthy. Really want to get this home. We might have another Wrangler coming in that I might pick up as a project. So again, stay tuned, and hopefully we'll see that sitting on front of the Trans Am again. We do have the power steering one also. It's a real nice setup. I wish there was some thought put into it as far as the F-body swap. So, and there's Junior's. Hopefully he'll be getting back on that this week, next week. I got parts coming to the house right now. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.